You've got power. You've got to use it for the good.
Number 9, 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 number 9.
I'm very pleased tonight to introduce a man who, in my opinion, is the greatest living writer in America, in his first television appearance ever. Here is Mr. William Burroughs.
Toma un texto cualquiera, aceléralo, ralentízalo, pásalo hacia atrás, y oirás palabras que en la grabación original no estaban, palabras nuevas hechas por la máquina. Personas diferentes detectarán por supuesto diferentes palabras, pero ciertas palabras están claramente, y las puede oír cualquiera. Palabras que no estaban en la cinta original, como si las palabras mismas hubieran sido interrogadas, y obligadas a revelar sus contenidos ocultos. Toma un texto cualquiera.
And the voice was saying, this is number 9 megacycles, or he was talking like that, and I just liked the way he said number 9.
And they show, I think, what can be done with a human voice and one phrase.
Number 9, number 9.
So I just made a loop of him saying number 9 and brought that in whenever I felt like it.
Number 9, number 9.
Pásalo hacia atrás.
William S. Burroughs deserves a big mention in the occult.
He was, people like Paul McCartney was very interested in him and put him on the cover of Sgt. Pepper, for instance.
The other person he was hanging out with was Brian Gysin.
The Beatniks, Burroughs, Gysin.
He was living in 9 Rue Gilles Le Coeur, which was the Beat Hotel.
His name is Brian Gysin,
a chaos sorcerer and artist.
He met his soulmate, William S. Burroughs, in Tangier in 1954 and fused his art with the great beat writer, together creating a kind of third mind, which led to remarkable collaborations in art and magic.
Passing themselves off as an artistic avant-garde movement was a cover to quite an extent. A cover for their esoteric activities.
And he was involved with the IoT. It was one of the bigger influences of chaos magic, the illuminates of
Thanatos and Eros, sex and death, the positive and negative methods of attaining magical consciousness.
Now we'll speak to the world under the name of Hassan Saba.
They saw themselves as cultural assassins. In a sense, a sort of terrorism.
A lot of the work that he was doing with Gysin involves recording equipment.
And Burroughs himself put together these amazing essays about how to use sound as a weapon.
The only reason we used that cassette deck was because I asked William Burroughs what tape recorder he thought was the best one.
I think those are all occult activities. Recording equipment, photography, or film. It doesn't make it less of a ritual.
My personal interest was very much to rebuild a magical approach to sound. The power in and of itself of any sound is enough, which release specific chemicals in the brain and body in order to alter the state of consciousness.
Some modern satanic cults cite Crowley as an inspiration. Homage is paid to Crowley by, amongst others, British-based Crowleyite groups, such as the Temple of Psychic Youth.
So we decided to start the Temple of Psychic Youth.
In 1982, Genesis Peerage formed Psychic TV, a rock group with a built-in cult.
Instead of a fan club, we decided to have an anti-cult, a kind of neo-magical, occult network.
That's what they're called, the congregation. Covens in Europe, in America, and in Australia, and they have one right here. That whole bunch. The parties with the singing and the flute and the chanting.
Magical creative system, which we call the Temple of Psychic Youth.
Read what they do, Guy. They use blood in their ritual.
Many of the scenes are too horrific to show. Blood, semen and urine feature prominently. What appears to be blood is seen being drunk.
They're not setting foot in this apartment ever again.
We took the structure of a magical order or a Masonic order.
But how can that be? Because Freemasonry is Satanism in disguise.
El iniciado va con una venda en los ojos que se le quita al llegar delante de Baphomet y ahí tiene que hacer una opción entre la cruz cristiana o la cruz de Baphomet.
I think we can see all around us the results of bad magic.
La cruz cristiana se tira al suelo y el candidato la tiene que pisar, primero con el pie izquierdo, después con el derecho.
Listen to the founder of the Satanic Church, Anton LaVey, tell us in his book, The Satanic Rituals. The Satanic Ritual is a blend of Gnostic, Kabbalistic, Hermetic, and Masonic elements.
We did reproduce his Satanic Mass. He gave me the old tapes and we took it in a studio and cleaned it up so it could be re-released as a CD.
Also friends of Anton LaVey. So you have your Church of Satan right hooked in.
The Doctor, Dr. LaVey. He's an interesting man, fun, very funny.
With that, created a group called the Temple of Psychic Youth, and they were known for chaos magic.
Satan was described as having a high level as well as a low level. The high level was magic, literally magic.
So we built a structure that required people to initiate themselves and purchase the Grey Book. It was 23 pages.
Resembling the number 23 on the front cover.
There's a person, a musician called Genesis Peorage, and Genesis is well known to be a Process Church member. 100%. I even have photos of tattoos on the arm, Process Church tattoos and the whole 9 yards. Well known.
A lot of the guys were interested in studying the way to process the mind, how to clear your mind from past confusion.
And that was the first thing, one of the first things I discovered about processing, and was actually the basic discovery of processing, that man was asleep. He is hypnotized. And he had to wake up. And then I went about trying to find out ways and means of how to make him do this, and that became processing.
To resurrect the soul and be reborn within yourself. So that's where Scientology started, and then they started selling it, and then it got to be the process, and then the Church of the Last Day, the Last Judgment.
What in magic we call the great work, you know, the process of awakening.
Especially Damien Eccles' professed interest in the occult.
Changing reality, shaping reality.
This black magic. Oh no. That's very funny.
As we said over and over again, we believe in change. We believe people should change, that change should be constant. You could break up and reassemble the way that society intended you to be.
Changes in values, changes in basically the way people think, and that will cause a political change.
We have an absolute right to be whoever we want to be.
There's no desire in any of our heads to sort of take over the world, you know. That was Hitler, that's what he wanted to do. There is, however, a desire to get power in order to use it for good. I remember that was exactly what I wanted then, what I want now. You know, which is just to be able to move freely, you know, and do what you want to do, as long as you don't interfere with other people.
Creemos que todos deberíamos tener la libertad para recrearnos en toda clase de fetichismos o de las así llamadas aberraciones que queramos.
They didn't call them groupies then, they called it something else. But if you couldn't get groupies, we'd have and everything, whatever was going. You know, I mean, the Beatles tours were like satirical.
Already saying about how they had orgies with the teenage fans and all this sort of thing. And then they write about it as if they're saints and as if everybody isn't doing it.
Yeah.
And when we were touring, and when it was at a sort of peak of hysteria, instead of just thinking, you know, that's nice, I mean, we could have just thought, you know, let's use this.
The mission of the OTO, as I see it, is to bring about certain changes which are set forth in the book of the law.
Aha. Click.
Crowley believed that if you gave man absolute freedom to do exactly what he wanted, this could do nothing but good.
And we'll probably say we have the same concept of freedom as he does. Have all found a certain similarity in their aims.
Do what thou wilt often resonates in the words of the popular mantra, do your own thing.
And the thing is, whatever is good for you is the best for you, you know. It's a simple thing, but people don't understand that.
Doing your own thing means doing your own thing, not doing exactly what everybody else is doing, but doing what suits you.
At least you must be able to do what you want to do without interference. Because, you know, there's nobody who's got any right to tell you not to.
Total freedom for everybody is our goal, you know. That way, you know, it will be a utopia.
They've got all these rules for everything, rules of how to live, how to paint, how to make music. And it's just not true anymore, you know. And it's just not true anymore, you know. They don't work, all those rules.
The context it was meant was the fact that Christianity is declining, and everybody knows about that. And that was the fact that was trying to be made.
You should remain fixed. You should be in the present, moving to the future.
People getting frightened once they see someone who doesn't agree with the rules, you know, because it's breaking a whole foundation of everything they believe in.
People are frightened of freedom. They think freedom, oh, there'll be excesses. Of course there would be excess to an extent, and then it would settle down.
Oh, and what a world we would make for all of humanity. We who live for freedom, for truth, and for love.
And here's some guy saying, love, love, peace, beauty. And at your back door, he's telling you the kill is all right. The death is just the most beautiful trip in the world.
I want none of your faint approval or faint dispraise. To hell with Christianity. I want blasphemy, murder, rape, revolution.
We believe people should change, that change should be constant. Nothing should remain fixed. You should be in the present, moving to the future.
You know, and primitive man, us, and something else, you know, and we don't know it all yet.
Satirical. And all forms of freedom will be the same as that. If people are allowed to be completely free, it will level out.
Because your first reaction's got to be one of fear, you know. So if you don't fear it, then you can look at it straight and think, well, you can sort of trust that it's probably going to be all right. It's probably not that bad. Because, like, it's human beings doing it, and you know vaguely what human beings do.
And that was, in a way, what really brought us together, this same sort of vision of the possibilities of the human brain.
So a lot of the guys were interested in studying the way to process the mind, how to clear your mind from past confusion.
Together, they created industrial music, exploring themes of death and fascism amid a thunderous cacophony of noise, tape loops, and bludgeoning beats.
The early work of the band Throbbing Gristle is perhaps the most accurate point one can cite as the beginning of the modern industrial sound.
Throbbing Gristle's interest in the darker areas of the human psyche was reflected in their lyrics. Pornography, deadly viruses, burn victims, mass murderers. It was difficult to tell if the group was endorsing their subject matter or merely saying, here it is.
And, you know, they're probably going to think of it nearly the same way you would in that situation. And that's true, you know. You can trust to the fact that things are generally not as bad as you make them out to be.
The music's connections to various forms of extremism often gave the genre an unwelcome name, when at the end of the day, most of the artists involved didn't agree with those movements.
You're lying! You're lying! You're lying!
You got the knife with Sharon Tate style. Sharon Tate style.
So Reznor would end up setting shop at 10050 Cielo Drive in Los Angeles, but as many are aware, it is the home of where Sharon Tate and her friends were murdered in 1969.
You can see the very studio house where the album was recorded from the music video Gave Up, found on the band's 1992 Broken EP. Reznor called the house studio where the album was recorded Le Pig, referencing the message that was written on the front door in Tate's blood.
However, industrial music is rather different from any other style of music in the fact that most of the pioneers of the sound cite a large number of writers and great thinkers as the primary influences on their music.
Well, I'm very much into philosophy, a lot of different philosophers that I've read over the years.
To share Psychic TV's philosophies, one can deviate from the norm in any shape or form.
Well, you have to, otherwise you don't share the philosophy.
A lot of different philosophers like Aleister Crowley and finally Anton LaVey.
Every man and every woman is a star or a god.
Therefore, each man, each woman is a god or goddess in Satanism.
Anton LaVey and Aleister Crowley, Nietzsche.
From Nietzsche to Voltaire to the Marquis de Sade to Foucault.
Well, over here is the Marquis de Sade and sexual fetishes.
Do anything that I want to. I can pursue any kind of lustful desires that I might feel.
Des choses d'une laideur morale extrême.
There are a great number of literary giants and masters of thought who can be found in the building blocks of the industrial sound. To the Marquis de Sade to Foucault.
Je parle de Foucault. Ce qu'a fait Foucault...
Le philosophe, donc Michel.
Le philosophe, oui. Ce que faisait Foucault avec des jeunes enfants en Tunisie et que j'ai vu et que je me suis reproché de ne pas avoir dénoncé à l'époque, ce sont des choses qui parfaitement ignobles avec des jeunes enfants.
Pour traduire, voilà, Foucault qui était selon vous un pédophile.
I'll conclude with a ballad with an accompanist, if the accompanist can come on stage.
Te conté alguna vez de aquella vez que Marv y yo pagamos 60 centavos a dos niños árabes para verlos follarse entre ellos, y les exigimos semen, nada de sexo a medias. Y le pregunté a Marv si creía que lo harían, y él me dijo, creo que sí, tienen hambre. Y lo hicieron, y me hizo sentir como un viejo sucio. La escuela italiana está justo enfrente, y me quedo durante horas observando a los niños con mis prismáticos de 8 aumentos. Curiosa sensación de proyectarme, como si estuviera allí de pie con los chicos, desgarrado por la lujuria. Llevan pantalones cortos, y puedo verles la piel de gallina en las piernas con el frío de la mañana.
If the accompanist can come on stage, Paul McCartney.
Everything is holy. Everybody's holy. The tongue and cock and hand and asshole holy. Holy the angel in Moloch.
Because they're only the same as you. You know, and it's really just, it needs everyone in the world to realize that inside them is the same thing that's inside everyone. You know, and that's all there is to it. And there's nobody better than anyone else.
It's easy if you try. You would be God to me. You dig? I can worship anything as God. Everything is God. The sun is God. The moon is God. Everything is God. No hell below us.
You believe in God?
Yeah.
What does he look like?
I don't know.
He looks like a... Never saw him?
I brought my Greek mask.
Does he wear eyeglasses? Does he have teeth?
Yes.
Does he have a belly?
Yes.
Like kissing my kitten in the belly, the softness of our reward. It's like a Shakespeare sonnet. It ends funny.